Hello and welcome to Game Day U. We are the only weekly OU football pregame show in Oklahoma on TV. Each week we will cover all things Sooner football, the OU's opponents, and Big 12 Conference, and more. I'm your host, Kenzie Eiserman, and I'm joined with Melina Samir, Kaylee Cardine, and Stone Weber. Now, the game the Oklahomans have been waiting for all year, the final Bedlam lived up to its expectations. With less than 11 minutes left in the first, OU down by 7, Gavin Sawchuk rushed 64 yards down the field to take it to the house, tying the game. Then with no time left in the pocket, Dylan Gabriel quickly threw this pass right into the Cowboys' hands for an interception. Now don't worry, OU had a strong response to this interception by simply just returning the favor. Billy Bowman Jr. notched his team-leading 4th interception of the season. Now the final countdown, the Sooners' last offensive drive of the game, 4th down. The Sooners decide to test their magic, and Stoops, well, he falls short. The Sooners handed the rivalry trophy to OSU 27-24. Now Gavin Sawchuk swooped in for the Sooners, not only scoring a touchdown, but also rushing 13 times for a career-high 111 yards. Sawchuk believes that although they suffered a second straight loss, they will learn from this.
You look at your own film, different things that you can play better, how you can play better, and there's so many things to learn. So that's the great thing about it. You lose, but you also learn, and that's what motivates you to keep going. You know that you can play better, you have better in you. So continuing to drive, and go back to work on the practice fields to get better for the next week.
Like father, like son, wide receiver Drake Stoops has a lot of pride for the University of Oklahoma. And while some may count this team out after back-to-back losses, Stoops knows there's still more on the line for Team 129.
I come in here day in and day out. It's been 10 hours up here every day, and for me there's a lot left to play for. And I bust my tail year-round for this for 6 years now, so I'm not really listening to what people say. I don't care if we're 0-8 right now. I'm playing ball because I love to play football. I love my teammates. I love my coaches. I love the University of Oklahoma. It's really that simple.
Now that's Sooner DNA, but there's a new sheriff in town on defense. Despite Danny Stutzman's absence, Kip Lewis came out guns a-blazing. In his first career start, Lewis lassoed in 15 total tackles with 9 solo. Lewis was on the loose and was dynamic in the defense's successes last Saturday.
Was all over the field. He did a great job. Several guys did. Several guys stepped in for guys today, and I thought they really stepped in. The competitive depth did show at some positions, and that bodes well, moving forward.
Let's talk about Lewis's partner in crime, Kobe McKenzie. McKenzie saw a lot of action last week against the Cowboys, recording 7 tackles. Now, last week was a challenge for the Sooners, and this week they faced a similar obstacle in West Virginia quarterback Garrett Green.
He's a really good player. They have a really good running back as well. It's going to be just like last week, just with a much more mobile quarterback, like you said. We're here for the challenge for sure. We've stepped up to the plate every week, and I think we're going to continue to do that.
Game Day reporter Emily Faith is live and got an exclusive look at not only a special look for OU football, but its history with their uniforms over the years. Emily?
When it comes to game day outfits, college football fans take things seriously. Hear what Sooner fans have to say about tonight's uniforms coming up next.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Here's the thing about Oklahoma. Highest temperature on record, 115 degrees. Lowest temperature, 63 degrees below freezing, with the longest stretch of time below freezing at 282 hours. 282 hours below freezing in Oklahoma? Severe unpredictable weather is nothing new in Oklahoma. It's just a fact of living here. That's why there's No Wait Weather on YurView Channel 3. We won't tell you what to expect. We'll show you all day long.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Thanks for staying with us, and welcome back to Game Day U. The Sooners have a special look for this weekend's game. Emily Faith is live with Sooner Nation's thoughts on this. Emily?
Thanks, Kenzie. The Sooners have sported many different uniforms throughout the years, and fans have different opinions and superstitions about each look. I talked with Sooner Nation this week about their favorite alternate uniforms and, of course, what they think of the rare uniforms that'll be hitting the field tonight.
It's week 11, and the Sooners are breaking out the Unity uniforms, which are just one of 4 alternate threads the team has worn over the years. The dark gray and crimson uniform honors Prentice Gott, the first black scholarship player at OU in 1956. But other alternates include the Rough Riders, which hold a 9-3 record for the Sooners since 2014, the crisp Nike all-whites in 2009, and the Wilkinson-era throwback in 2003 that featured a unique crimson and cream combo. No matter the uniform, Sooner fans have their opinion on which game day fits are best.
I really like the Rough Rider ones, the more recent ones. Of course, like the originals are nice, but I definitely like the updates that we've had across the years. Yeah.
I love the guys today. I love what Baker Mayfield wore. I love what the team is wearing today, and maybe even especially tomorrow. It says something. It shows grit. It shows attitude, and it shows that we're going to win the game.
It's definitely the 09 Texas Tech. I like this one, but I want to see a version of it where there's Sooners on the side and a red cursive. I definitely like the Unity that we're wearing tomorrow. I think just it's a whole new look we've not seen before.
Legend has it that the Sooners seem to struggle on the field when wearing alternate uniforms, and after back-to-back losses, fans are divided over an important question. Is this the right time for the Unity uniforms to reappear, or is the superstition just superstition?
I am big about the OU superstitions all across campus, so I don't think they should wear the Unity uniform.
I think that was more of a Notre Dame thing, which happened to them earlier this season when they wore the all green and totally lost that game. But I don't see that happening tomorrow. It's a win in the books.
Yeah, I don't really buy into all the superstition stuff. I think, whoever the better team is tomorrow is going to show up and play, win.
Team 129 will take the field in those Unity uniforms tonight against West Virginia, and we'll see if the alternate superstition lives up to the hype. Reporting live from the Switzer Center, Emily Faith, Game Day U.
Thanks, Emily. Game Day U reporter Brig Bates got an exclusive one-on-one interview with future OU football star who switched sides of the river. Check it out.
Touchdown, Colorado Tigers!
High school football is more than just a sport. It's traditions, cultures, and the dream of lifting a state championship. And Kevin Sperry knew that there was more than just tossing the pigskin.
And I was a part of a new high school. It was only our 3rd year from being built, I'm pretty sure. So there wasn't a lot of traditions and culture just because we were brand new. What really triggered it for us was getting closer to OU, because we always wanted to be close to where I went to college. And I would say my early commitment kind of sped that process up for us.
Kevin Sperry took a leap of faith, leaving his old high school to join one of the winningest programs in the state of Oklahoma, to one day lead his teammates to the state championship and lift Carl Albert's 18th state football trophy.
But I'm also not focused totally on college. I'm focused on this team, focused on going undefeated and winning a state championship, and just making sure that all my teammates are being lifted up each practice, and just making sure that I got their back and they know that I have their back.
And speaking of his teammates, the OU DNA is running through Carl Albert, as Sperry's connection with 3 of his teammates will continue to grow, but this time in the Crimson and Cream.
I'm glad Marcus James made the switch too. I actually didn't know he was here, or Trinae. prior to transferring here. I knew Tristan was here, I knew X-Rod was here, but I didn't know about those two. So when I found out those two were here too, it was a big plus.
Sperry might not be Sooner born, but he's full steam ahead of becoming Sooner bred.
Just the culture again. I think Coach Venables brought in a great culture. He brought in a great coaching staff, and I feel like Coach Lebby's offense fits my playing style. I always want to play in the SEC growing up.
Sperry's goal this season is to bring home the gold ball, but the junior quarterback can add 2 more state trophies before he leaves. Reporting from Carl Albert High School, Brig Bates, Game Day U.
Thanks, Brig. When we come back, we'll discuss the top Big 12 games to watch, but also OU's opponent today, West Virginia. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Welcome back. The West Virginia Mountaineers came out with a victory in their last game versus OU last season. Game Day reporter Blake Mullen spoke with them at Big 12 Media Days this year about their hopes of defeating the Sooners again.
Hello from Big 12 Media Days here in Arlington, Texas. As some teams are focused on Oklahoma and Texas leaving in a negative impact, West Virginia head coach Neal Brown is just focused on getting revenge for their 2021 loss in Norman.
It doesn't really have anything to do with it being on their way out. Is more so the last time we were in Norman in 21, we really outplayed them and lost the game on a walk-off field goal. And we had an unfortunate turnover. We were driving to really take control of that game, and we had a turnover and allowed them to get in position to kick the game-winning field goal. So more excited about returning to that and see if we can finish what we weren't able to finish in 21, more so than that being their last game.
The Mountaineers are aiming to beat the Sooners in back-to-back seasons when they head to Norman on November 11th. From AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas, Blake Mullen, Game Day U.
Now let's take a closer look at this West Virginia team. What do they need to know about the Mountaineers?
Kenzie, West Virginia's defense is anything but consistent. 3 times this season, they have allowed teams to score 35 points or more, yet held 3 opponents to under 300 yards. The pass rush needs to work if they want to slow down Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, the Mountaineers' momentous run game is where their offense peaks. West Virginia sits dead last in the Big 12 in pass offense, only averaging around 200 yards a game. But quarterback Garrett Green got it done against OU last year. We'll see what he's got in Norman this year.
And something the West Virginia Mountaineers aren't last in is penalties. They only have 46 on the year. That's 30th in the country compared to OU's 64, which puts them 108th.
Now moving on to other Big 12 games, number 16 Kansas Jayhawks face the Texas Tech Red Raiders today at 11. And Kansas is on a 2-game winning streak, but Texas Tech is also coming off a win versus TCU. I think this will be a close game, but expect the Jayhawks on top.
And number 7 Texas rides into Funkytown to battle the Horned Frogs. After 3 weeks, the Longhorns are welcoming back a now healthy Quinn Ewers. Time to see if Ewers springs back or if TCU can riff-ram the Austin boys.
And number 15 OSU is taking a trip to the Tropics Athletics to meet UCF. The Cowboys corralled the Sooners last week, and the Knights snapped their 5-game losing streak, beating Cincinnati. I think the Cowboys ride away with a win.
And the Kansas State Wildcats host the Baylor Bears on Saturday at 2 p.m. And on paper, this game may not look all that important, but for OU to get back to the Big 12 championship, they need a K-State loss.
Now, when it comes for what and who to watch between the Sooners and the Mountaineers, we'll share what we think when we come back.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
It all can get so out of control. Sometimes you can lose your faith, you can lose your mind, lose your grip, get stripped of your pride till you don't know how you're gonna stay alive. Hey, hey, I got you. I will give you what you need, and I'll be right there. I got your back. I got you.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Thanks for staying with us. We will now highlight our who or what to watch for the Sooners game versus West Virginia. So let's break it down. Nick Anderson has been an absolute playmaker for this Sooner football team this year. Although these last 2 games, he's only had 4 combined catches for 110 yards and no touchdowns. He's been the guy for the Sooners before these last 2, having 8 touchdowns on 16 catches. Now Anderson's gonna need to step up for the Sooners in today's game versus the Mountaineers, add more touchdowns not only to his season total, but the Sooners scoreboard as well. Anderson may be a determining factor to OU's hopes of coming out of a losing streak, but I think OU's will lose unless they snap out of this funk.
Kenzie, you're right on that. But not only did Nick Anderson miss the mark against the Cowboys, the tight ends were missing as well, and they are the weakest unit. Austin Stogner and company struggled to get rolling and couldn't block in the spaces, allowing OSU to blow up screens over and over. Outside of the third play that OU made, Gavin Sawchuk head to the house for 64 yards for a touchdown. So Oklahoma needs to run these plays consistently, as it's crucial for Titans to step up when these plays are made versus West Virginia. The Sooners are hungry for a win, so prepare for the wagon to finally be unhitched, 38-22.
Well, Lena, you're right. The wagon will be unhitched with one walk-on walking all over the competition. Tawi Walker is ready for takeoff. This year, the running back room has struggled to find their footing. Injuries have plagued them, and although Gavin Sawchuk played well last week, I want to see more Tawi. Despite injuring his ankle against KU, Walker proves he's the most consistent RB. Against OSU, Walker only ran the ball 8 times, but that accounted for 59 yards. He's physical, he's shifty, and he can break tackles like no other. If OU can get Walker more involved, OU wins today and the remaining games.
Kayla, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I think Tawi Walker, especially in his last couple games, he's really solidified that he is the running back one, just being able to run through some big tackles. And I'm going to have to talk about the tail of the tape from last week that was to shut down Ollie Gordon. And on that front, the Sooners held the Cowboys running back to 133 yards. The problem, though, was quarterback Alan Bowman. The Texas Tech transfer looked like a Heisman contender. He threw for 335 yards and completed 66% of his passes. The pass defense needs to step up and shut down Garrett Green today, make that West Virginia offense one-dimensional. I think the Sooners once again struggle against an inferior opponent, but will outlast the Mountaineers 23-21.
I think the Sooners need to step up and show what they were, the team they were at the Red River. That's the team we're missing right now, and they need to show that in today if they want any chance at playing in the Big 12 Championship. Now, when we come back, my favorite part of the show is coming up next, where there'll be a new set of faces coming in to pick the country's top college football games today. You won't want to miss it.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to my favorite part of Game Day U, where we'll discuss the country's top games today and give our picks on who will win. I'm now joined with a new group of analysts, Ben Dackue, Ryan Smith, and Kaylee Jo Hummel. Now, the Utah Utes face arguably the hottest team in college football right now, the number 5 Washington today at 2:30. Will the 7-2 Utes break the Huskies' 9-0 winning streak?
When Josh Payton late kick has you on upset alert, you're in trouble. Utah just seems to have a knack for bullying teams and wrecking season. Ask Caleb Williams. This Utah defense just beats people up. If this Utes defense comes to play, Washington's perfect season ends today.
Yeah, Ben, you're also talking about a USC team that has dropped their last 2 games. This is a really good matchup in this one. The future Heisman winner, yes, I'm calling it, Michael Penix Jr. going up against a stout Utah defense. And while I don't think that we're going to see a repeat of that Oregon-Utah matchup for the Utes, I still think that Washington's going to win this one by multiple scores.
Ryan, I have to agree with you. The Huskies are howling. They're undefeated and leading the nation in passing offense. Yes, Utah's coming off a big win, but let's face it, over Arizona State. So I'm thinking Washington's going to take the Utes for a walk.
Now the number 10 Ole Miss Rebels face the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs today at 6. Will the Bulldogs continue their undefeated reign, or will Ole Miss take home the win?
I'm expecting an offensive shootout in Athens, and I trust Lane Kiffin's offense to put up points more than I trust Carson Beck. With Brock Bowers' status still up in the air, I think the Rebels shock the world and cause some chaos. Hotty toddy.
Absolutely. Everyone's going to be talking about this Ole Miss offense versus this Georgia defense, but the real decider in this one is going to be whether this Ole Miss defense, this reeling Ole Miss defense, can string together some stops, and I just don't see that one happening. Ole Miss is going to be riding the Lane trade back to Oxford with an L.
Ryan, I gotta agree with you again. These teams, they're looking pretty similar on paper. They're both averaging 39 points per game, but the Dogs haven't lost in over 700 days, and it's a home game, Sanford Stadium. I mean, it's gonna stay that way.
Now another top 10 match faces today at 11 a.m. Michigan versus Penn State. Will Michigan defeat Penn State, or the Wolverines get their first loss?
There are 3 things I believe in this life: God, Sooner Magic, and karma. The Big Ten doesn't want to ban Michigan from postseason play? That's fine. Penn State is about to do it for them in Happy Valley. Nittany Lions are going to pull off the upset.
It might be called Happy Valley, Ben, but those fans are going to be real sad after this one. Michigan is giving up less than a touchdown per game so far this season, while hanging up 40 points per game on top of that. I like the Wolverines big in this one.
Ryan, I gotta disagree with you. With everything that Michigan's dealing with off the field, this is gonna be their first big test on the field. And you know what? I love an underdog. And the Nittany Lions, they've shown they have what it takes after blowing out Maryland. And the games in Happy Valley, give me Penn State.
After a struggle on the road, finally back at the Palace, OU will light up the stadium tonight as they face the Mountaineers at 6 p.m. Will the Sooners' losing streak end today, or will the West Virginia add to it?
There has been a rather disgusting theme of the Sooners dropping close contests. They are 2-7 in one-score games under Brent Venables. That needs to be rectified, guys. But not this week, because the Sooners are going to absolutely run wild on West Virginia under the lights in those gorgeous anthracite uniforms.
Gotta agree with the uniforms. And if the Sooners are going to want to stay in the race for the Big 12, they're going to have to be able to convert in key situations on the offensive side of the ball, rectify what they've done over the past 2 weeks. And I like their chances of doing that against a Mountaineer defense, giving up 31 points per game over its last 4 games of this season. Sooners big in this one.
You know what? The Mountaineers are hiking down to Norman at the perfect time. The Sooners have had mistake after mistake, 6 turnovers and 6 false starts in the last 2 weeks. It's painful to watch, so I'm going with West Virginia.
Thank you for watching Game Day U this morning, Oklahoma's only weekly OU football pregame show on TV. We'll see you next week right here, same time, same place. For Ben Dacu, Ryan Smith, and Kaylee Jo Hummel, I'm Kenzie Eiserman. Have a fun and safe game day.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster.